before I could do the background check, I needed to verify that he was who he said he was. Because when I met him, he told me his name was James Dean. Okay? He told me his name was James Dean. I'll tell you the other name, man, was James too. Both of they named James because that's what the fuck it is right now. That's all I can think about. One don't have no last name. The other one named James Dean. Okay? So he told me his name was James Dean. So I'm like, that's not your real name. That's not your real name. So I go case search the name. I can't find shit with this name that this man done told me. He like, oh, I didn't change my name. I had to change my name. Okay. Why you have to change your name? He has a twin brother and sister. He's a triplet. This is what he told me. He's a triplet. And his brother stole his identity. And that's why he had to change his name, because his brother ran up a criminal record on him while he was in the military. When I do the case search, well, let me go back. Go back to the ID thing. So I needed the ID. I need to see if that was his name, if James Dean was on his fucking driver's license. And it took him like a week. He kept making up excuses as to why I couldn't see it, right, y'all? So I finally sees the ID. Nope. I still gotta go back, y'all. I still gotta go back. So when he didn't want to tell me what his last name was, I go on his Instagram. Because, like, within the first week, we're, like, following each other's social media pages. So I go on his Instagram, and I'm scrolling. I gotta scroll all the way back to the beginning of his Instagram. And I see a military picture with the last name on there. So I said, all right. I go to case search, and I type in first name, James, last name, Toller. Because that's what it said on his military ID. It said Toller. It didn't say Dean. Mind you, all these names is made up, okay? All these names is made up. I probably fuck up during the storyline and fuck the name up again. But right now, this man told me his name was James Dean. But on his military picture on IG, it said Tyler. And so I go case search James Tyler. It's almost 2 pages of background. And that's when I approached him about it. And that's when he told me that his brother stole his name, his identity, while he was in the military. So then I start going through and seeing if certain dates line up with dates that he supposedly was in the military. Because there is no case search for people. If he was in the military, there's no search engine for that. I'll be back, y'all. Hey, guys. So, to pick back up on this story he told me. So, the story goes that he was driving, she was in the passenger side. They stopped to get some drinks from a store, or they already had drinks or something, and the drinks were sealed. When she handed him the drink was unsealed. It was a purple colored drink, and he started, after some time, he started basically seizing out and having a heart attack. And so he was in the hospital. We told him he had a seizure, a heart attack, and he had to get heart stents. It was so bad. He had to learn how to walk and talk again. It was so bad. And come to find out, she put fentanyl in his drink, which made him, he was driving, so he had an accident because he seized out. And they found, this is his story now, that the police found that his seatbelt was cut after they took him out the car and everything. This girl survived, and the allegedly she got 26 years in jail. So that's his story. This happened not about 2 years or so ago. So that's the story he told me about the baby mom trying to kill him. So I'm thinking, I'm like, wow, that's some crazy shit. Like, there's some crazy people out here. Because, like, I have no reason not to believe this man's story. Like, who would make up all of this shit, right? I had no reason to check it or anything. Like, I had no reason to doubt what he was saying to me. And, I left it at that. Like, I didn't ask him, like, why, what happened prior, like, what led up to this happening. Like, I wasn't trying to, because I was like, that's kind of, like, sensitive. Like, if somebody tried to do that to me, I wouldn't want them asking me a whole bunch of questions about it or whatever. And so I didn't even, he told me the story, I didn't even have a second thought not to believe him, because that's some traumatic shit. Sorry, y'all know I'm driving. I gotta concentrate. So yeah, that's the story with the baby mom trying to kill him. I'm gonna end it there, and we're gonna go to the next part. Thanks to y'all who are watching and keeping up with the story so far. I appreciate you. Like, comment, and subscribe. All right, y'all. So. He told me that he was in the military for 14 years. And he was in the military, and then, well, no, he got drafted to play, no, not drafted, I'm sorry, he went to play football. And the military was, he couldn't play football and be in the military at the same time. I'm like, all right. So when I seen that background and he tried to say, his twin, you know, I was like, that's kind of, I mean, it happens. That's where my mindset was at. I'm like, you know what? People do fucked up shit to people, and fucked up shit happens to good people. And so when he told me that, I'm like, okay, I understand, or whatever. That shit could happen. It has happened. 2 twins, one brother or sister still the other identity, so on and so forth. And my thing was, why you don't have an update? If this happened however long ago, why don't, if you changed your name, why don't you have an updated ID? But he was like, it was hard for him to try to go around with this name, this newer name, because everything was attached to his old name, his original name. The name that his brother stole. Showed me a picture of the brother. They do look alike. Just one of them is a little darker than the other one. And so, same description, case search description, the same and everything. He showed me a picture like, this is the guy, this is my brother, he be stealing my identity. And I'm like, okay, that's all right. I give him the benefit of the doubt that it might be true. And so, I done got sick, so my chest is hurting real bad. I ain't gonna say real bad, but it hurt. Sorry, y'all. It's me in the flesh. It's real. It is what it is. All right, so he explained the background away, so I'm like, all right, that's cool, that's fine. It could happen. When I checked the pictures on Instagram versus the timeline he gave me, I'm like, oh yeah, versus the timeline on Case Search, I'm like, okay, no, he couldn't have been doing this, because according to him and according to what he posted on Instagram, he was doing this, that, and the third. So I'm like, okay, it lines up. Like, it really lines up. And so his secrecy about a lot of things was because he was somewhat of a celebrity, because he told me he played ball for the Jets. Now, at the time, if y'all seen this man, like, he is cock diesel, like, he's swole. Like, he looked like he played football, so it was believable. And so I ain't go check no roster. I ain't go check no, like, I think he sent me a couple, like, 1 or 2 pictures of him in uniform, him on the field. I could barely see the one with him on the field, but with him on the field, and then him on a jet with his teammates. He sent me pictures of him on a jet with his teammates. So I ain't think to go check no roster, but I'm gonna get back to that later in the story when I end up dead checking the roster. But why would somebody lie about this? So of course I'm not checking. But his whole secrecy behind why he didn't want to tell me his last name or have me start digging dirt up on him is because he was a celebrity and he has a significant amount of money, and he don't want people to come after him and use him for his money. Alright. I ain't never dated no football player before, so I don't know how they roll. I dated a celebrity chef, but he wasn't on no secret. Well, no, he was kind of secretive too, so no, he was kind of secretive too. But anyway, and so all of the secrecy behind him not wanting to show me his ID and everything was because of his celebrity. And he used to tell me, within the first 2 weeks, he told me how women use him for his money, how his kid's mom used him for his money, and a lot of women just be using him for his money. So he don't really, and when I met him, he was driving a U-Haul. And so when I asked him about it, he was like, well, I don't drive my car. He told me he had a Bentley. I don't know what year, what class. I don't know shit about that. So he told me he drove a Bentley, and he kept the Bentley parked because it has dark tints on it, and he always getting pulled over by the police because he's from Georgia, has Georgia tags on it. And so he drives his U-Haul truck so that people don't think he got money. So I'm like, that makes sense. Like, if I had money, like, if you know what I mean, if I had some M's or some couple thousands or some in the bank, I wouldn't want to be out here being all flashy neither. I probably would drive me a Honda Accord. And so, you know what I'm saying, with my regular shit, and just keep my car for when I'm going out or going to, you know what I mean, night out in the town or something like that. So I accepted him as he was, you know what I'm saying. Within the first 2 weeks, the first week, I got the timeline right because I had the timeline wrong. But the first week, we went to Hook and Reel. The second week, we went to DC. So every week, every day, we were seeing each other. And every weekend, or if I was off and he would take off during the week, we would go. We would drive these long distances and go to places. One of our favorite places to go was IHOP. Because he like pancakes and I like omelets. So we would go to IHOP a lot. We went to Hook and Reel a lot. Like, those are some of our main dates. He took me to DC. Like I told you, he told me he had a restaurant in DC that was run by Ethiopians. So we would be there. And IHOP, Denny's, like, we just like breakfast food. Like, he didn't listen, y'all, I am not with all the dates you guys spend a whole bunch of no. I like IHOP, I like Denny's, I like omelets, and so yeah, we can eat there. So, alright, I got past over. I accepted his story about him being a triplet, and I accepted the fact that, you know what I'm saying, he had 4 children. He was from out of state, and that his identity was stolen by his brother while he was in the military. I accepted that story for what it was, y'all. So, on to part 3.